You've been lied to about aging, and chances are you believed it. Because somewhere along the way, someone twisted a verse that was never meant to shame your years but to crown them with glory, and you've carried that weight far too long. The verse, Ecclesiastes 12:1. Remember your Creator in the days of your youth. It's the one that gets weaponized to whisper, "You're too late." It's quoted like a deadline, not a doorway. But what if I told you this verse isn't a warning against getting old? It's a map back to the one who's been walking beside you the entire way, even when your memory started failing and your knees began to ache. See, the hidden truth is, aging was never a punishment. It's a process of revelation. Your body slows so your spirit can hear. The noise of ambition fades so the whisper of grace can rise. And yet, so many treat this verse like a closed door, forgetting that Isaiah 46:4 says, "Even to your old age and gray hairs I am He. I am He who will sustain you." That's not resignation. That's reassurance. God didn't tell you to remember Him only when you were young. He was calling you to never forget, even when the world tells you you've been forgotten. That's the trap. The real spiritual warfare after 60 isn't about resisting temptation. It's about resisting irrelevance. The enemy doesn't always attack with sin. Sometimes he whispers insignificance. He tells you your prayers don't shake heaven anymore. He convinces you your story has expired. But read Joel 2:28 again. He says, "Your old men will dream dreams." Not remember dreams, not mourn dreams, but dream them. That's a spiritual weapon disguised as a promise. Your age isn't a spiritual setback. It's a prophetic season. You're not behind, you're deeper. And if you've got breath in your lungs, you've got purpose in your bones. God doesn't need youth to move mountains. He needs surrender. And He gets that more easily from a heart that's been broken, humbled, tested, and still says yes. You've carried people, buried friends, and cried prayers no one else heard. And God saw every single one. That's why 2 Corinthians 4:16 hits different now. Though outwardly we are wasting away, inwardly we are being renewed day by day. Your body might be slower, but your discernment is sharper. You've got the wisdom to recognize fake light, the patience to wait for God's timing, and the scars that prove you know who the real enemy is. And yet, so many fade quietly, because they think their prime has passed. But what if I told you? Your prime just changed shape. What if the second half of your life is when God wants to speak the loudest through you, not because of your strength, but because of your surrender? Psalm 92:14 doesn't lie. It says, "They will still bear fruit in old age. They will stay fresh and green." That's not poetic fluff. That's a declaration of your productivity in God's kingdom. You're not on the shelf. You are the shelf, holding up the generations who forgot what endurance looks like. You've got spiritual street smarts the young ones can't Google. And while they chase platform, you carry presence. While they seek stages, you walk in quiet authority. But none of that matters if you don't believe it. If you see your gray hairs as a curse instead of a crown. That's the most dangerous lie buried beneath Ecclesiastes 12:1. That if you didn't remember God early, you missed your shot. But God is outside time. Romans 11:29 says, "His gifts and calling are irrevocable." That means you didn't age out of His plan. You just aged into the next phase of it. You didn't miss the boat. You are the boat, steady in storms, seasoned by waves, anchored in faith. You've got prayers to pray that will outlive you, wisdom to speak that can break generational curses, and faith to carry that will revive cold churches. And if the church isn't listening to its elders, it's limping on one leg. Because God never stopped using aged vessels. He chose them. Abraham was called at 75, Moses started at 80, and Anna, the prophetess, didn't prophesy until she was a widow in the temple at 84. The world says retire, God says refire. The culture says, step back. He says, step in. And you need to know this. The enemy doesn't fear your strength. He fears your clarity. Your voice matters because it doesn't waver. Your story matters because it's bloodstained and battle-tested. Your life matters because it didn't quit. And maybe the most misunderstood verse isn't just Ecclesiastes 12:1, but your life. People misunderstood you. Family dismissed you. The church overlooked you. But heaven saw you. God never misunderstood your tears. He collected them. He never wasted your pain. He repurposed it. He never ignored your questions. He's been weaving answers into your timeline all along. And the most shocking truth? You're not at the end. You're at the edge. The edge of a season that finally makes sense of everything behind you. The edge of a calling that doesn't need spotlight to burn bright. The edge of a legacy that doesn't need applause to echo through eternity. So here's the challenge. Stop counting birthdays like expiration dates. Start seeing them as elevation points. Stand up in your soul. Throw off the guilt of too late. Rip up the lie that you've passed your usefulness. You are still anointed, still appointed, still held, still healing, and still here for a reason. The only question left is, will you believe it?